everyone, it's Natalie. I know it's been a while since I last made a video, but I've returned from the abyss of SAT subject testing and filling out applications, so I'll be making videos more often. I knew starting this school year that there would be a few weeks here and there where I won't be making videos as often, and that's what happened in the past 2 weeks. So sorry for my absence, but I'm back now, and I thought that since it's October, I'll start it with a cute little Halloween cat, just a black cat with a witch's hat. As always, I use Prismacolor colored pencils and Strathmore tone gray paper for all of my drawings. Tone gray paper looks like this, and the Prismacolors look like this. You can get both of these products at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, but if you don't have craft stores like that in your area, you can always go onto Amazon and purchase them there. So let's get started. I think green eyes and a purple hat would be a good color scheme for this picture, so that's what I'm doing right now. As always, I color the eyes first, just because they help frame the entire picture. They serve as a focal point, so I always start there. Plus, it's really fun to do. For those of you who came in late, I'm using Prismacolor colored pencils on Strathmore Tone Gray paper. And the colors I'm using right now are spring green, grass green, and canary yellow, along with black, of course. I'm now going to add reflections onto the eyes with Americana white acrylic paint. I did this in all my videos with eyes just because it's an easy way to put reflections onto eyes. If you try to use the white Prismacolor pencil, it doesn't work that well on pre-applied pencil. Instead, it's almost like a translucent color, so this gives you a bold white. And the cool thing about it is that you can add water if you want to dilute it and create a less opaque color, so then you can transition from an opaque white to black if you'd like. I never really put the paint out in a container just because I use so little. In fact, I just use the amount that catches in the lid right here. I just dip my brush there and use that because this paint goes a long way. And this brush is from Hobby Lobby. The brand of it is the Fine Touch, which I believe is Hobby Lobby's off-brand of brushes. You can get a lot of brushes for a cheap price. I like these brushes because you can buy really thin ones in a value pack. I mean, they're not the best brushes and they won't last that long, but it's something and they're cheap, so that's why I use them. Right now I'm using black, white, and cool gray 30% to color in the cat's fur. These are Prismacolor colored pencils, and they're not charcoal. Actually, starting with the eyes is really just a preference for me. Kelly, I'm using a reference photograph of a cat that I found on Google Images. If you just search black cat, you should be able to find a cat that looks like this. I don't exactly remember how far down in the search it was, but it's just a random picture of a cat that I found. And then I'm putting the hat on the cat. The hat is from a few different pictures. I used a couple of references for it, so I'm kind of combining different photographs on the internet. Jamie, I have two dogs. One of them is a German Shepherd and the other one is a mutt, but with prominent Labrador features. I can't exactly pinpoint what kind of dog she is. All I know is that She's really cute, and I call her Sally. Linnell, the art supplies that I purchased for myself are relatively cheap. In fact, all these Prismacolors, while Prismacolors in themselves are expensive, I actually didn't pay for this set. I got it as a gift from a friend for Christmas. They had this set of Prismacolor pencils that they never used, and they decided that, hey, I should just give it to you, Natalie. And I thought that that was an extremely generous gift. So I use them, and I do go in and purchase a few extra colored pencils here and there, such as the black and the white colors, but since I only replace the colors I use often, it's not too expensive. As for the paints that I purchase, they're extremely cheap compared to other paints. I buy the craft acrylics. These are about $1 a bottle, and they last a while, so I use them a lot, and I've found different techniques to get the most out of them. I use them almost like watercolor on canvas, and it's really interesting how I do it, and I'd love to make a video for you guys so I can show you how I do it, but I am not entirely sure how I do it at this point because I'm still experimenting every time I make a piece. Each time I mix a skin tone, it feels like a completely different process. So it's kind of hard for me to make a video about that, whereas with colored pencils I'm a little bit more comfortable showing you guys different techniques. But with painting, it's still experimental, so it's really difficult for me to instruct it. Heather, the gray that I used underneath the black is Cool Gray 30%, and the Prismacolor number is 1061. It's also on the camera. There's a piece of tape covering it, so I don't know how clearly you can see that. But again, that's 1061. Jessica, I really don't get much smudging on the paper whenever my hand moves over the color. Really, it only happens with the graphite, as you can see right here. It's a little smudgy there, but that's only graphite. It's not the Prismacolor at all. And this can be wiped down with an eraser. It also does transfer onto my hand, but again, this is all graphite. It's not the Prismacolors. The Prismacolors, I haven't experienced them smudging at all, which is really nice because otherwise I'd have to use a piece of paper to guard the piece while I color it. And I don't think that'd be very fun to watch because most of the picture would have to be covered. No, the only art lessons I've taken were art classes from my public middle school and high school. I started really getting into art in about middle school, and most of what I learned comes from looking up tutorials and examples online and trying to practice and learn from those. But my art classes at school weren't necessarily instruction-based classes in the sense that they didn't instruct me how to color or how to paint, things like that. The art classes, they were usually just focused around smaller projects like paper mache or sketching. And currently, as a senior in high school, my art class is basically a block for me to make whatever I want, use the resources in the room, and do research if I'd like. But it's not really an art lesson class per se. All that I learned online. As I mentioned earlier, the cat's hat would be purple, so since I'm adding this ribbon around its neck, almost like a collar, I'm going to make that purple as well. Also, if you would like to print out some coloring pages to color yourself, I created some coloring pages for Kids Activities blog, which I linked in the video's description. The specific link that I put in the video this time is a link to some coloring pages with faces, one of which was, oh, actually two of them. I think the two that I linked were based off of previous live drawings that I've done, and in the blog post where the coloring pages are, I've embedded one of the videos so you can rewatch that and color along if you'd like, or you can just print it and color whatever you want, which is what I recommend. But you should definitely go download those. It's a free download. You just download the PDF and then you can print it as many times as you'd like. If you'd like to color on this kind of paper, you can buy the Strathmore Tone Gray paper, and since the paper is perforated, you can tear it out of the notebook and actually put this straight into your printer, and then you can print the ink onto this paper and thus color and get that cool tone gray effect with a coloring page. That's something that not most coloring books offer. Hallie, I'm looking at a couple of different reference photos. One photo for the cat and a couple of different photos for the hat, although a lot of the hat is constructed from memory, just because I think that it should be a certain way here at the rim, or the tip of the hat should be bent in a certain way. But like the overall inspiration for it I saw on a couple of pictures, so I'm kind of using those as reference, but not really, because I'm going off on my own way with it. But I highly recommend using reference photos if you don't know how to draw something, because you really should look at a reference if you're trying to draw something realistically. I know that some people may not be quick to use reference photos, but I think that they're a great resource to use, and it helps you expand that, I guess, like library of images in your head, to where in the future you'll have a better understanding of color and shading just by drawing different things. And drawing all these animals here on Quirky Mama for you guys, it's helped me learn how to color different textures and different hair lengths. So draw a diverse set of things, such as animals, because you can learn a lot about texturing from those. Whoa, that completely broke. Sarah. I currently have a backup white colored pencil, but my other colors, such as the browns and the blacks, I always replace those. But for something like violet, since I rarely use this color, I'm not that compelled to get a replacement for it unless I absolutely need it. So this one probably won't be replaced for a while. Rebecca, I store all of them in a folder until I find something to do with them, and that's usually when someone wants to purchase one. So if you guys would like to buy one of my drawings, you can contact me on Instagram through the direct message function. Or if you don't have Instagram or you don't know how to use the direct message feature, you can just message Quirky Mama with your email address and just say something along the lines of, could you forward this to Natalie so she can contact me? And I'll get back with you and we can work out something. Also, I'm thinking about opening an Etsy store with these drawings so you guys can just go online and get them right away, and all the processing is done through Etsy, super easy, and the shipping would be taken care of too with Etsy, so you won't have to worry about calculating an extra cost or something. So stay tuned for that. I will keep you guys updated. It may be a couple of weeks before I actually create that just because I'm kind of busy with school, but I definitely want to get that started. Wow, this purple looks much darker on my phone screen than it does in real life. This is another case of a color discrepancy that I've noticed. This has happened a few times with certain colors, and it's typically colors that are extremely vibrant. I guess the color just doesn't look the same on the camera as it does in real life, but I promise you the color looks a bit better in person than it does on the screen. And if you haven't already, go follow me on Instagram. I linked my bio in the video's description, so you have a quick link to my Instagram, and you can message me on there if you want to buy anything or if you have special questions. I'll try to get to those. Also, go check out my coloring pages, which I also linked. That's something fun for you to do. You can print as many of those as you'd like. I know I linked to a specific coloring page in the video's description, but if you want to access some more, just go to the search bar and type in coloring pages, and the ones that I made should be some of the first results. Actually, I'd say it's less saturated in real person. What am I saying in real person? In real life, the camera kind of distorted the color on it. Whenever my pencils get really short, I sometimes lose them inside of the book or underneath them, so if you saw me moving things around just now, that's what I was doing. Oh, it's already 10:29. It's almost 10:30, so it's time for me to get going. Since I didn't finish this cat, I'll finish it next time. But since there isn't that much to do because there's only the ribbon and the body and a few other details on the hat, I'll finish it in the first, I guess, 15 minutes or so of the video, and then for the rest of the video, I'll start something new. I think I'll keep with the Halloween theme for this week at least, so if you guys have any suggestions for something spooky or scary, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll scroll through it and see if I can get any inspiration from it, and maybe I'll draw it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all your likes and comments and patience since I've been gone for 2 weeks. I'll be back for a while now at least, until some other crazy deadline comes up. But like I said, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Also, go follow me on Instagram and check out my coloring pages. Good night!